Liga. I'm joined by their coach, Baba Beast. First of all, you guys have had to deal with a lot of changes. You know, the patch change, map changes, agents, and now even a player too on stage. Have you been able to kind of balance everything and prioritize it all? And have you seen that translate onto your performance today?
Well, I think having the map changes is like helped us a lot because it was like our worst map pool, like we're having Lotus and Icebox. It was kind of bad for us. So this is like kind of like a good change for us. Having Lixa is like new blood. You know, having her to sub in. I mean, she's doing great for now, and she didn't take that much time, like as we expected, like for her to get comfortable. So we're kind of like feeling good about this, yeah.
She's looking like a super sub out there. Thank you very much for joining me, and best of luck on map 2.
All right, that was Baba Beast. Welcome back, guys. I'm Victoria, again joined by Mitch and Kukuka here. Now, we started game 1 off hot with the Verizon high-speed moment. It was Toki's ace. Check this out.
First ace of the competition, and it has to go to Toki. I'm very happy because it is such a great moment to start with, especially Falcons being a team that regionally has not been doing well in pistols, and especially has not been doing well in winning bonuses. And the fact that Toki is able to go into site, get 3 kills, and then after that plant the spike and get the other 2 kills, what a way to get the show started.
Yeah, often when you see an ace, there's going to be at least a couple of those kills that are cheat kills. You're behind someone, they're looking the wrong way, but they knew where she was, didn't move from the spot where it was planted, still taking those fights. It's impressive, it's dominant, and I think from the side of Falcons, that is certainly something that set the pace for the game. Like I said, we'd get a good litmus test in the first couple rounds, and we certainly did.
Yeah, I think that is the perfect way to put it, especially with that ace at the very beginning, just setting the tone for the rest of the game. ALG, they did have a little bit of a comeback in that second half there. Then we saw Muffin start to pick it up and start to join in the frag ranks amongst Mary and even Mad V.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we expected, we know how this composition works, and we expect, obviously, the Neon and everything that we know she can do to be extremely aggressive, and especially when it's in the hands of a player like Mary, to have this very clutch moments and very flashy. But as you're saying, at the end of it, we were seeing it also from Muffin. ALG using both of their timeouts during that first half when things weren't working. They were able to fix some things. But of course, then going into the second one, probably losing a little bit of the steam, but they were getting the reads.
Yeah, and I think one of the other aspects, looking at, I suppose, someone like Mary coming in on a Neon, often there's going to be a lot of responsibility on you to be the one taking those first steps forward, taking all of those duels, and when you add in that ISO to it, there's just so much clearance that you can do it, and moving into sites together, getting rid of some of that utility without the same kind of aggressive punishes on the other side.
Yeah, exactly, and we also need to think about the next map, but as you're saying, it's not only that Mary was there, Mad V was there, and those kill contracts, like those ultimates, are so unlucky because you go in and you know she's picking your head.
And then you contrast that with like Muffin, for example, and your whole responsibility is to be the one going into that utility. We saw it towards the end of the game. They started to throw out a little bit of a mix-up, went for a C-site play, but sent Muffin to B to just be a distraction. What happened? Muffin updraft, dash, caught by a trap wire, immediately killed, and the whole team's ready to pivot to the C hit. Like, there was no way to upset the rhythm that Falcons were playing at.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be a tough loss to start this match up today for ALG. Haven is supposed to be one of their maps, but now we have that regional matchup. But you know, let's hear what ALG's coach Kudi has to say ahead of map 2.
I'm standing by with the coach of ALG, Kudi, ahead of map 2, and Luna to do some translations as well. We've only seen you guys play 3 maps in the entirety of this roster. We're about to see you play your 4th map. What are your thoughts about Split, and how have you been preparing for this?
那其实我们至今为止只看到过 ALG 展现过3张地图，以现在这个阵容嘛。但是接下来你们将会展现你们第4张地图霓虹钉。那对于这张地图，你是怎么去一个想法认为呢？以及你们做了哪些一些准备呢？
因为我们之前在没有这个图之时候就已经很早在练习这个图了，所以我觉得也是我们有准备的东西。对。
I think although we didn't show it on the stage before, we have prepared a lot before we have actually show it. So we already have prepare for it. Let's see.
I can't wait to see it. Let's see if ALG can make a comeback on map 2.
I I think that's very promising to hear from their coach. I mean, we've only seen 3 maps and we were making jokes about it, but then maybe they've been hiding a lot of things too. And I think coming into an event like this, you should have some other maps prepared.
I mean, obviously, right? That's what you expect. I think that probably this first map was a showing of if you're not used to going against this kind of teams or this kind of compositions, maybe it catches you a little bit off guard. And by the time that you have adapted, just because of the little time that you've played together in officials, it might take a toll on you. But Split, even though it's a map that has not been recently in the map pool on stage 2 in EMEA, it was, you know, we've seen Falcons play this, of course, not with Lexa, that by the way is having a brilliant performance today. So, you know, props to her. Like her utility, as you were mentioning, Mitch, was on point, and doing that, knowing that, you know, again, all eyes are going to be on you because you're subbing in. It's very last minute, so I'm happy to be seeing that performance. But going back to ALG, Split is not a map that is new or that has suffered changes. You know, yes, there's been changes to agents, but it is a map that they've played in the past, even individually, and that it's easier to build, for example, an Abyss.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I think, yeah, well, even then looking at someone like Lexa going into an Abyss, you might have issues. You're being left out to dry a little bit more. It's a map that hasn't been around quite as long. For Split, I'm excited for one very particular reason about what Falcons can bring. They could bring an ISO, couldn't they?
Actually, I'm more excited to see because, you know, previously, for example, the last time that Yusin played this map in ADG, she was playing on the Omen, right? We see Muffin on the Raze, Genie maybe on the Sky, you know, things that we have seen in the past. But Mitch, we were talking about it in the pre-show. We've seen some changes, maybe some Astra that became very popular. Yeah. Love to see some Yoru as well, some more of the Breach. I want to see those kind of changes, and maybe some Chamber. Mary?
It could be. And certainly with the escape ability now and that little bit of extra TP range, there's a lot that could be done.
Aggressive.
Yeah, and that gets you in and out for free a lot of the time. So I wouldn't be against it. At the same time, after what we just saw from ISO, give it to me. I want to see those entries from Mad B all day long.
I do wonder, you know, now we're talking about this is the first time they're playing outside of China as a team, and with their comms, it must be a little bit slower, a little bit less reactive, because if there's any translation that needs to happen in the way and you're going up against a team like Falcons Vega, who just moves really fast, this could be a big factor in what makes or breaks this team.
You can imagine, especially, not to talk all day about the ISO, but that's something that is going to be a point of contact you need to react very quickly to, especially with the Neon as well. These are hits that are going to come at you very quickly, and you're going to have to be on your feet with communication. I think 1HP was said to be doing the translations, right? That was a tough map for it. It's difficult to say whether that plays a role or not, and hopefully we'll see the bounce back here, but it is certainly something in the back of our minds at least, because it just seems like it's always going to be something that detracts from, I guess, your full potential.
And we need to think also, you know, about the pace. At the end of the day, Falcons decided to go to this split. They had other options open, and they decided that this is where they wanted to go. If they are able to have the same performance that they had at the beginning of that first map on Haven, catching 5 rounds in a row, if they go, for example, as you're saying, Mitch, imagine that they get the double duelist, or the Euro Chamber Neon, Astro Breach, I'm completely settled in. It would be very disruptive, and again, difficult for ALG to adapt on the go.
Yeah, and we're going to see how much that really comes into play here at the end. You guys are wishing.
Deadlock on Mad V. That's not quite an ISO, but, well, her comps are always fun to watch. That's flexibility to the utmost.
Yeah, I mean, we wanted something different, and we are definitely getting it from Falcons. They never are failing to give us comms that are...
The fact that we have seen Mad V being so flexible, yet here in GCC, the first map pick, she goes on and plays the Deadlock for the first time. We were talking about statements, about first performances, and how this new map is going to be like reinterpreted. I'm so looking forward to see what they're going to do with this double Sentinel, Mitch.
Yeah, I mean, ALG have come in playing a normal game. This is just cornflakes, but Falcons Vega, double Sentinel, Deadlock being one of them, the Yoru as well. That is a comp that will put you on the back foot.
All right, well, this is bound to be a really exciting one. Let's find out if this one goes the distance. We're going to send it back to your casters, Mimi and Ender.
Thanks very much to Victoria and the desk. ALG have only played 3 maps in their qualifier. Split was not one of them, and they have a huge curveball coming at them to start this one.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone's practiced against this Falcons comp. This is absolutely wild stuff, but I think there's going to be some merit here.
we're on the cutting edge. But so is ALG from going down to that lower bracket. If you lose in this round of 10, then you have to play 6 matches in a row if you want to then lift that trophy. It is so much harder. So a big chance for ALG to see if they can recover in this series and take us to bind.
They're gonna have to figure out how to deal with this double Senti setup because they're walking into the stack here over towards A. Sun is sent out early, but Falcons aren't really gonna do too much play around that. Interesting that they're using the wall even though they have the camera on this side of the map. Putting it down there early, it's not gonna have too much of a shelf life in this round.
And it's going to be interesting to see how they play around it. Are you investing in like utility, really giving away your position to break it? Are you just waiting out that 35-second timer? Or are you going all the way around through mid?
Hey, I mean, ALG used that timer to actually get that mid space, take full Vents control, recognizing that, hey, there's probably not too many people playing behind the deadlock wall when it's up there, so they've actually just, with almost no utility now, gathered that A heaven control and have the option to dive down into the site. Over an elbow is a really tough position to play, no util to support Lexa on that side, but it's not going to matter. She finds her first, and the flash comes on through. She's set down, and the site belongs to ALG.
1-for-1 was really the most you could hope for there. 2 players for heaven. Retaking that space would be pivotal for Falcons.
30 seconds left.
They even want to.
ALG in such a good position here with that control, doubling up as well. Madby just running solo in there means that Falcons are now all coming down through the ground.
Trade of the paranoias. They'll nullify each other as Mary just dives straight out, spots the player towards heaven, and has already taken care of Muffin. Mary's gonna keep going, but 1 HP has escaped. And Eva, now in the 1v2, finds the first in the spike.
No more
Planted back sight. Ginny around elbow. Eva sees a shoulder, finds the swing, and the shot as well is there for Falcons. They'll pick up another pistol round off the clutch for Eva.
Wow, that is just a heartbreaking way to start it off. Eva comes up with the Red Bull clutch in a round where ALG had perfect post-plant positioning.
It really looked like Ginny was not ready for Eva to swing into her there.
Yeah.
I don't think she even shot that.
I mean, the spike wasn't planted for heaven, so Ginny was forced to get down on the site and fight that one through. Honestly, a miracle that Falcons even made it out of screens with that crossfire. Mary's having too much fun. She was literally skipping into the site, hopping out of the smoke. Now she's singing after she falls.
And that's a huge Red Bull clutch to start this game.
All right. ALG, this time around, have a couple of sheriffs to play with, but again, the serious problem for them is going to be dealing with this Sentinel utility because, I mean, you're going to see constantly throughout this game just that Senti util stacked on each other, right? Because Deadlock, you know, stun on her own, kind of weak because, you know, it doesn't do true info so players can walk straight out. Having trips around that, having camera around it makes those sites so hard to hit. You have to almost spend a lot of time or utility to flush out that util first before you do anything.
Even though this comp looks super like new age, in a lot of ways it's just kind of going back to when people were picking Sage all the time on this map, right? Like you have the wall towards ramp, the wall towards mid. It's just adding a lot of time to that clock and kind of giving more layers of utility you have to deal with.
And it's very similar to like the Ascent comp that like a Shopify Rebellion runs,
sure,
right?
Very popular in NA.
Yeah, double Senti plus a Yoru, and what it gives you is an insanely powerful defense because you have insane stall on one side of the map, and the Yoru fast rotates to then play with those Sentinels afterwards, and that's exactly what's happening here. A perfect little 1-2, and ALG are going to fall down quickly.
1 enemy remaining. 30 seconds left.
That's that. Falcons deal with the anti-eco well and already show us a second look there. I think the strength of this is you have so much defensive utility that you can constantly be rotating around where you're setting the deadlock, where you're setting up the Cypher. You can even play them on sites separate from their utility. And I think that makes it so hard as an attacking IGL to figure out what you're dealing with.
I think the really important thing to do for ALG is focus on mid and into heaven control. Not to say that Falcons can't, you know, throw their utility in heavens, but it's way easier to actually attack a site with that double Senti utility when you're coming out from above instead of forcing your way through that tight choke. And I think that's what they're going to be doing with a lot of early ramps plays here, sending in the stun line like we saw over on the pistol. By quickly dealing with that wall, it gives them a lot more time to play these rounds out.
Dog into sight. It'll show that at least some of this utility is here.
One way to deal with the different pieces.
Yeah.
Wow, Lion's really trying to get herself out here with the Cypher Cage. They're going to be pretty aware, though. You'd imagine 3 bodies now on site, but Lion finds that first one. Absolutely massive.
Advi going wild with the Sheriff has already found 2. A dink onto this last player in 1 HP. Well, true to the name, not a chance. 1 bullet would do it, but Yusin deals with the problem on the site. And now it's a 2v2 on the retake. How fast does Falcons go? Instantaneous. In towards elbow. 1 HP is dead. Yusin trying to teleport across. But Evan's there. And Falcons win the bonus.
The util's so nice there, coming out from screens. Falcons doing a great job, and it's again just Madvi, right? Doesn't matter, she's not playing the Yoru, she can't get the 1v1s, but she's still gonna be able to isolate her fight somehow and get 2 with the Sheriff. Just some silliness from back here. First using that bait from Lexa over in the corner, and then winning even out even in the double swing.
So ALG stuck down on an eco here. Half armor in the Sheriffs. And I think still struggling to piece together how to deal with this utility in the early round.
Yeah, Flash gets a ping, so they end up snapping that breach stun. Of course, Falcons are playing out that line. That breach stun in every team's playbook. No stranger to the breach on that map, and I feel like it's actually a really nice thing for Falcons to be playing such a wacky composition on a map that's re-entering the pool, because, hey, when you play against the ALG comp, you know exactly what to expect, but no one really knows what to expect from a Falcons comp this early on.
Falcons feeling the confidence. They'll get maybe a little too aggressive there.
Hey, ALG won their first round on Haven on an eco.
That they did.
I swear it's just harder to shoot against Sheriffs. I don't know. Like, Madvi's frying absolutely everyone, but then enemy team runs at her with a Sheriff. I don't know.
What's going on? Harder to hit somehow.
Yeah, they move faster. You know? That's how I coped through it myself.
Look at this walk up for Falcons. 2 players pushed ahead of the utility in B main.
They can sound out on that
30
sensor.
seconds
No
left.
trips to play off there, so very easy to break that utility. But still, answering to that Heaven control with the B main push sets up Falcons beautifully.
And ALG has no idea.
Here comes Mary on that ultimate, scouting at
Players
everyone.
here. Spot is
Come
good.
on.
Lexa coming in to this site. And now Mary joining them as well. It's a double swing, but it's no matter for Falcons as they eviscerate ALG.
Yeah, 3 for Madvi on the round.
And I mean, come on, it's just too perfect. The second they feel too much pressure in mid, the second they're losing kills to this anti-eco, it's the exact right play to push into main. It's a bait in on the Yoru ult. It all looks so put together for EMEA's 3rd seed.
Yeah, Falcons know exactly what they want to be doing with this composition. ALG maybe a little bit slow to respond. We'll see what they're able to do in the 5th round. ALG have some ultimates to work with themselves, but I think one of the big weaknesses of this ALG comp is you don't really have power ults. Like, Raze Rocket and Breach ult are the only 2 that really fully clear a site for you.
And you contrast that to Falcons, where they have the Dimensional Drift that just won them that last round. They have the Fade ult, which is huge on a retake, as well as that Deadlock in play too, which can just net you a free kill.
Especially on these sites where there's not too many places to hide. You're actually placing it. Madvi can act as a re-entry when Falcons are trying to flood out onto the sites if she wants. Now, I don't know if Mary missed this TP or 5-head is rotating over to B and is going to TP back into A anyways.
There. Thinking we'll probably time out before either of those options happen. Toki, okay. Just walking up for a moment here in A. We'll poke at the Cypher and back away.
I think the idea is show that forward presence, pretend like there's maybe more players on the A side of the map than there actually are.
All in an attempt to push them back into the double Sentinel site.
Exactly. That's exactly where they're headed. Last time around, this time they get pinged out. Stunned up, and the ultimate comes on in. Muffin, her teammates trying to break her out of that, but that just means the swing's gonna come on through. Madvi finds 2 off of the ultimate, even though she has to finish the job herself.
A perfect trap play for Falcons. But while all that was going on, Lion is crept up into the A site. But the ult reveals her position, and Eva's there on the swing.
trying to tip her hat, and she just gets shot in the face. It's just not fair. It's just not fun, but Yusin gets her team back in the round.
Ult available on the Omen to reposition. She'll head towards backside.
Oh, she doesn't scout it at the
She
last
does.
possible second.
10 seconds though, that spike is dropped on the ground.
Left.
And this
Spike
round
down
is
A.
over. Falcons just has to live through as the time expires, and they go now 5-0 up on Split.
What's the ult count at the end of that? I know Yusin used hers right at the very end, but that was a big round. ALG needed that one. Yeah, they got the ultimate out of Madvi on the opposite side, but there's still a fade. Muffin still doesn't have the showstopper.
Enemy
Madvi
remaining.
has just been an
10 seconds
unanswerable
left.
problem
Spike down
for
A.
ALG.
And you look at that round, and obviously the B side is extremely scary, but while there's so much utility invested there, they still have enough tools with this comp to set up a trap play in heaven, to have just that one extra piece of info util to trigger that annihilation off of. There's so much you have to navigate through on this comp, and I think starting defense Split, it's the perfect use case for it.
Yeah, and honestly, at ALG, they need a minute to talk things through and figure out how they're going to find this util and break it apart, because their comp, they do have some pretty good tools to actually just flush out that util, whether it's, you know, raise nades, they can send those off. The Skydog is going to be able to trigger trips. Even Breach, you can use that blast to break apart some of those pieces. So I think ALG might need to just do a little bit better job clearing those things out. I didn't see exactly how they got triggered in B Heaven last round, because I know the previous one, they were able to shoot it, but that time everything just kind of fell apart.
And I think you can see the difference on the faces of the players too. Falcons, not all of them have been to a LAN like this before, but they have some experienced members, and they're getting a game where they are in dominant control, where Mary's out there having fun, where their IGL is absolutely owning. It's the perfect welcome to this stage. Whereas ALG, riding off the coattails of an EDG who went 0-2 last year, are trying to do better and already in a really tough spot this series.
Yeah, gonna have to fight their way through this one, and this round not gonna be easy with just the two Vandals. We'll see how their patterns change so far. A little bit more reserved of a start to the round. I remember back to Haven, and there were a couple times coming out of a timeout where Mary just sent it at ALG, so maybe holding their horses for just a moment at the start to see if there's something similar.
Double sight for trips.
My eyes are down.
Still on this B site.
And with that deadlock wall pushed up in mid too, like, Falcons don't have to worry a lot, except B main. That's absolutely it, and they're not finding the tripwires.
Yeah, I mean, using the breach aftershock, the paint shells as well, neither finding that trip.
And then there's a crouch sent against them over in main too, so Lex is just able to spam away at them. There's nowhere for ALG to go. Obviously this round, it felt like a little bit more of a throwaway for them, but you can't go for these fast execs while that deadlock wall is down. You gotta punish that wall for being sent out so early in a round, or you're just gonna keep walking into that disgusting choke over and over again.
And this is the Falcons as well,
30 seconds
playing
left.
with that substitute, but it's clear that practice they got with her has been valuable. She looks super rehearsed on this Cypher.
Toki's gone for these forward step-ups a few times, whether it was a lob here, now up into mid. Oh,
Better than yours.
Goodbye.
bye. That's gonna be the ultimate too, so now 10 seconds on the clock. I don't know if they can actually plant this spike with Mary sitting back, and they can't.
Spike down
Okay,
A.
Madvi. They just keep on coming, they keep on falling. 6 rounds for Falcons, and making clean work of this one.
It is such a surprise to see this Falcons team as a 3rd seed. If you weren't watching EMEA this year, they were so close the entire time. Back-to-back grand finals in Stage 1 and Stage 2. Honestly, pushing G2 in a lot of those games.
Look, the last time they played on Split was in those Stage 2
Yeah.
finals. It didn't go their way for them, but they're actually playing ALG's comp. Since then, they've switched things up, but they've bounced back after a weaker Stage 3 for sure today.
Yeah, we saw some of these players back in 2022, but it is a different scene now. It's not just about G2 when you talk about EMEA.
Like they have 3 strong contenders here in this tournament.
ALG contacted deep into mid. They have their Raze embedded.
Oh wow, using the Prowler to get some shots, but the Vandal spam, Lion's gonna see straight on through that. Unfortunately, players just keep on running over. Well-timed GravNet is going to shut down any chance for a fast B split.
Yeah, ALG wanted to react into B off of that pressure A, but they can't. With these two Sentinels, even if you're sending 3 on the other side, there's too much to deal with. Lexa takes care of Yusin. Muffin Salt, will it find a connection? Just in time. That's a kill for Muffin. Can she do more? Absolutely not. Again, it's the last-minute addition, stepping up on her site, and her teammates have arrived just in time, putting 1 HP in a clutch.
Falcons going for a reposition up into heaven. 30 seconds to play with for 1 HP. She's gonna want to get active.
Free of that burden of translating for the rest of her team. Now just about her gameplay in this clutch.
She's got a Bulldog right now. After going for this plant, she's gonna go back and switch over to a Vandal, you'd think, if she even has a moment to breathe.
Prowler will not spot her. 1 HP sees a player towards heaven. Reposition. Drop down from Falcons. ALG. 1 HP wrapping around.
She's spotted!
And the haunt's too good.
Wow. The way Falcons have been playing a lot of these late rounds has just been so well put together, right? Like, Mary, 2 years ago, I think Mary's coming out of CT right there, pushing off of the plant. Maybe there's a chance for ALG to get back in the round, but no, she decides to go back up into heaven, play perfectly with her teammate, masking the drop with some shots too.
She's a learned woman now. Took her break.
Is that what you call her?
When you go to school. I didn't, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, no, you're not a learned woman.
That hurts.
You said it.
Careful here.
I said she was, not that I wasn't. It's 7-0
you said you
Falcons.
didn't go to. Okay, I didn't go to school either.
And there's rifles back for ALG.
Early paint shell. Maybe it can break some util. We can hope at the very least. Unfortunately, all that sent to util is on the B side.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tough way to start the round.
Yeah, that's just the benefit of the comp. You can spam people through.
Is it?
No.
Okay.
It's the benefit of being Toki.
Suppose so.
Yo, I dig the hamster on the gun though. Shout out.
Oh my god! Muffin! Absolutely cooked. Mary's gonna do more. I mean, it is just a diff across the board.
I do not know what to say. Like do you play out the round after just getting shot through smoke?
Yeah.
Then you're getting shot while you're flying through the sky like one
and
tap
then
out of
Mary
the air.
hits a spray transfer.
Ay, ay, ay. Ava still hasn't died in 8 rounds.
She's 10-0. That shot.
One enemy remaining.
Just filthy.
Spike down
It's not even a
A.
transfer, just the instantaneous reset. Mary's movement is so clean.
Yeah, and I mean, part of this is definitely the comp throwing ALG a little bit. They've really struggled to actually just get bodies out onto a site, but a lot of this is just Falcons crushing in those individual mechanics. I mean, on both maps now, we've seen Muffin just get shot out of the sky multiple times.
Paranoia is sent out there ahead of that wall even being broken, so it does nothing.
Yeah, coordination hard.
Yeah, I think we've seen some of these moments where the communication, the coordination, not quite on point for ALG, especially when you contrast that to how well Falcons have played off one another.
Spike down.
There's no trade for that Death Heaven. Now there's a Rolling Thunder coming in, but Mad V should be able to escape that one. Flashback into the site. Falcons is already back in, and Toki's teleported behind.
Falcons just having a little bit of fun now. Houston might be able to get a kill, but the blind comes through, and she better start running because Mary is close on her tail.
At least they killed Eva for the first time.
You know what? It's the small victories in a game like that. Unfortunately, as soon as Eva dies, Mad V just shoots up the scoreboard. I don't think anyone's been able to push her out of B Heaven until a breach ult comboed with like flashes sent her all the way running. No one's been able to take an even fight against her.
So again, it's 2 timeouts in the first half for ALG.
The last time they called the timeout, it was a bit of a slow play into a delayed B exec. That didn't seem to work out all too well for them. I know you can't see it right now, but I'm looking at the pings during this timeout, and there are just danger pings from ALG in V Heaven. Like, they know the Madvy's the problem.
Do not go there.
Don't go there. It's illegal.
Where do you go then? I mean, they've gotten control of mid most of the time here, but then it's the trap plays in B Heaven. If they're splitting into mid, then they're getting spotted by a camera. And we haven't even talked about it, but Mary has had gate crashes to get across the map. She's always in the right place at the right time.
I think the really frustrating thing about how ALG are running into this Falcons comp is the ALG comp is really good at shutting down early aggression, right? Like Ginny just holding out that stun line and being able to pop it off of a sky flash pinging out on a target is really good at shutting down ramps control, A main control, B main, anything like that. But the way Falcons have been playing is just actually very reserved, you know? Leaving that Senti util on one side of the map, using the fade to be able to re-clear. But this round we might actually see that early aggression.
Where are you?
3 players fighting into mid.
ALG are like, we didn't talk about this. And they're coming straight at us. Muffin down to 10 at the beginning. They're trying to stun their way back into the line, but it's one way. You just can't do anything with that. The stun line was looking for players way further up than they actually were.
And the thing is that Falcons show that early fight. They basically buy 30 seconds.
Not again.
Again?
Not again. Different player, same story.
I think they gotta stop walking past the cage. Just getting spammed every time.
Okay, so you can't go A main, you can't go B Heaven.
That's off the list.
Cover going out.
What about A Heaven?
Well, you can't walk through main, so I guess you gotta go through mid? That's your only way. Hey, good news for ALG. Madvy's playing on site this round. There might be a chance.
Stun into Heaven. From Ginny. They do have Heaven, but in comes a paranoia.
They used everything to beat an imagined Madvy. Now Madvy hanging out in the smoke on site. ALG come down out of Heaven, but they're getting carved up by Eva. Madvy is still stuck on site, playing around perfectly on that smoke, although with some missed shots, ALG still have a bit of a chance. Ginny down, stuck underneath, and Mary's gonna shut it down.
Every time it just looked like there is an iota of hope, a chance for ALG to get into a round, then it's no longer about the comp or the fundamentals. It's just the individual prowess from Falcons.
Yeah.
Madvy, Mary, having great games, but the rest of this team has stepped up too. It was Lexa taking over in the first. It was Toki making good plays, and Evan as well having these moments. Woo!
I feel like every time we've heard the comms, it's either a woo or a nice.
And it's been pretty nice thus far. 10-0. The Sheriffs won the first round back on Haven for ALG, and that is a lovely way to get this round going, but Toki will trade back. Flicks around for 2 kills, and it's a 3v3 retake.
Mary almost went out that smoke, but she calls it off the last second.
Time to jump.
Out to send out that teleport.
Your trail.
Seekers are going to give ALG a perfect information of where these 3 players are coming from.
1 HP spotted towards spawn. It's on to Lexa here, and she deals with them both. Now Yusin, her second GCC, trying to win out in the 1v3, and Mary will not let it happen. The second you see a Falcons player on your screen, you're dead.
No matter if they're coming into you or you're going into them, they're just ready for it. We've seen Lexa a lot of times in retakes. We saw it a few times on Haven even, where the rest of her team is going on the opposite side of the map, so she plays super, super slowly, waits for that aggro to come into her. She's always ready for it. That time finding 2 kills is just a little bit silly.
Last round of the half.
Not much for the coach to say there. No timeouts even to use.
No. And they get around.
Again, they're just really starting to take their time with things. They're hoping that someone's going to take a gunfight versus them, but like, look at the actual hold. There's a camera to watch a B main. No one's actually looking at Heaven right now for Falcons. The only one actually taking a fight would be Toki, kind of, and even that is playing just the slightest angle to take a shot and fall out of the area. it's just so suffocating as a team, because when nothing you're doing actively is working, what do? You sort of post up and wait for Falcons to, throw something at you. But they're just not doing any of that.
And despite taking so much time in this round, they've only dealt with the Cypher camera.
We're down to 50 seconds.
Madvi and Mary, and it's just a player swinging in alone. Trade not there. Stun is up. Now in comes the Nat, and Mary's active. One by one they'll fall as ALG has somehow turned this one back around. An aftershock kill and another from Ginny.
Ginny found some huge ones, but she doesn't get hit by the paranoia. ALG know exactly where she is.
30 seconds left.
Keeps peeking in and around. Back and forth, biding time, 25 seconds now. Ava has come in from CT and finds the first kill. 2-on-2 now, as Heaven ends up falling, and Ava shuts it down. That is a perfect half here on our first map of Split.
12-0. And in that round, it was the best chance we had seen yet for ALG. But it matters not.
Not at all. Madvi unkillable on that site, consistently carving up ALG. And we'll see if there's an answer after the break.
Spike down B. So much for their elite age. Where are...
Red Bull gives you wings.
Hold on. Is that you? Yeah.
It is a 12-0 start here for Falcons, and it looks even better than that, honestly. Falcons have only died 25 times in those 12 rounds. That's averaging 2 deaths a round. They are playing as perfect as you can get.
It's been absolutely lights out for the third seed from EMEA. The first EMEA team that we've had at a Valorant Global event. And they have stunned in this opener.
I mean, they whipped out a fun comp, very new age Ascent vibes on this one for sure with the double Senti. But playing it in our first real look at Split again. And it's only been a few months for Split. It's not that long that it's been out.
And it hasn't even changed since then, but the game has changed since. Not like the event.
Okay, Mimi, you said it.
More so like the meta and the agents and things of that nature.
Definitely, that's.
I swear I didn't mean to do it.
It's a good thing this one looks like a quick one. All right, ALG, what can you do? They've got no timeouts going to this half, but that's the least of their concerns. They just need a round.
One away from a match against Shopify Rebellion.
Yeah, that's your award for 13-0ing? Come on.
At least you get there quickly. Muffin has the opener. That's Mary dead. And she's gonna keep going.
Okay.
Muffin, confidence in mid. She does not want to get 13-0'd. Single-handedly takes down 3. If Falcons can win this, it would be a miracle. As it's only Eva left in a 1v4. And Ginny will put an end to it.
All right, respect. ALG, they get active for the first time in what feels like a long time, even on the defensive side of things. And Muffin just playing absolutely fearlessly. Look at that, gets the first kill and is like, actually, I want to go back into mid for a little bit more. Calls in that stun too from Ginny, just absolutely perfect utility as well. Can't complain about that. But can we start asking the question? Is it possible to win a round of attack on Split?
A lot of people have been wondering this. Thus far, okay, so VCT games since Split came back in, 100% defense win rate.
Exactly. And it looks like it might be continuing, even though it's a 1-for-1. ALG have rotated 2 bodies into the site. And a big stack here going at the start of things, and luckily for Falcons, I think that cage is going to save them from that stun, which would have been certain death.
Falcons will walk back towards mid, as it's the duo of Ginny and Muffin towards heaven. I won't see them. Instead, they head all the way back towards A.
Oh, 1 HP just sent a bird into the wall. Trying to use that to re-clear, see if anyone is in mid. Not going to cost them, though, because Falcons are moving over on to the A site. See how deadly Lion is. Just kind of popping off back on Haven, especially on the defensive side of things.
Had some rounds. Here's another chance. Going wide, stuck out in the open, and everyone is swung into her at once. Muffin is here in time, but the wall is up, and this is now the power of this comp in the post-plant. There's so much utility to lock the defense out.
Low HP bars, though. MadV down desperately low. Same for Lexa. They're all stuck on site. ALG are going very quickly. Look at 1 HP. Not slowing down for a second. And Muffin finds those 2 kills. Make it a third. ALG've got their second.
Back-to-back 3Ks for Muffin. She was sitting at that halftime and just doing. Did not want to get 13 out.
Felt like she's been playing like fast and loose now, almost, in a way that's really working out for her.
I wonder if that's what they talked about in the halftime, right? Like, game's basically over. Let's just go out there, see what we can do, get that confidence back.
Win as many as you can. And again, that's another defense round, Mimi.
It is.
Let alone the don't pay attention to the fact that it was an anti-eco, anything like that. Doesn't matter.
Okay.
Let's just buy into the stats.
Famously, have
don't
never
use
lied.
your eyes, just listen to the numbers, folks.
Not the greatest buy for ALG.
The way Falcons are playing all 3 lanes right now, though, showing that OMEN TP into B main is usually accompanied by like more players, especially when you're going for that aggro TP, but very quickly, Mary and Ava are just walking into mid, holding hands, using that Fade utility to make sure no one actually stepped into the space.
MadV has a round 3 annihilation.
Wait, what?
Yes.
Wait, how did that happen?
I think just orb maxing. Even on that equal round, they lost, getting some on the board. How do they want to use it? Yusin, oh, stunned up, but no follow-up from Falcons. Now Toki will swing in and be taken care of. So it's a pivot into the A site from Falcons, and there's only 1 player here.
Lion's here, but as soon as that thing goes pop, the players start coming in. It's the same story as last round. Lion gets 1. Things aren't unwinnable. Muffin has the ultimate. 4 on 3 now, and they can break down that wall.
But so does MadV. Annihilation.
Someone get her out of there! Someone save Muffin!
Muffin lives. At least for a moment, and that allows this ult to come through on the retake. Dog forward, Muffin satchels beyond the stuns, but can she find the players on site? No! It doesn't connect on either, and MadV doubles up as Falcons 13-2 win their debut match at Game Changers Championship.
Third seed EMEA looking a little bit scary, all I'm saying. What a performance. I mean, Ava goes unkilled for 8 rounds. And MadV again just puts up another stellar one.
Yeah, the first time we've had 3 teams from one region at a Game Changers Championship, and I think Falcons proving why they were so feared all year in EMEA.
100%, 100%. Same time, ALG, they come out here, first game on the big stage, and end up falling in a tough one, for sure.
And for Falcons as well, I mean, playing with the substitute, she shows up on this stage and absolutely dominates in both maps. I think it was a great showing from Lexa here.
Yeah, really strong mechanical performance. I can't say it enough, like how many times Lexa was just in an isolated anchor position on both maps and just finding Muffin in the sky, single tap headshots. It was some pretty sweet stuff out of her.
Yeah, the mechanics look on point. They're debuting us some new compositions. And Mary, on her re-debut at GCC, looks just as good as ever.
She has been popping. Of course, now Falcon's going to be moving on to play against Shopify. Mary played against a very different Shopify 2 years ago.
She did.
Never had that chance to go up against Cloud9 back then, but now getting to play against the core.
It was a match that was promised back then, right? Mel and Alexis against that G2 core. It's a little different now, but Mary has her opportunity.
Yeah, not all 10 players are going to be back in the server. We're gonna have about 3 of them. Still going to be a whole lot of fun. I mean, Mary versus Floor. I'd pay good money to watch that.
It's free.
Wait, it is?
Yeah.
I've been paying money this whole time, Mimi.
That's just a you thing, I guess, but that should be an exciting one. I think a real test of how good this team actually is. I think there was a pretty clear gap here. ALG not quite on the same level. Remember, they've only played 6 matches going into this event against a Falcons that has been grinding all year. And that hard work really showed.
It absolutely did. I mean, just dominant performances round after round. That's the shot, one of those shots I'm talking about, that time from Toki. And yeah, it just felt like ALG couldn't find those answers. It was a tough one playing up against a different comp, a funky comp here on Split. It took them a little bit too long to figure things out. That said, they still have a chance. ALG will be moving down into the lower bracket here to redeem themselves heading forward.
But the lower bracket is tough, right? With 10 teams now,
Spike down.
means you would have to play 6 matches in a row into that finals. But we'll see what they can do. Still time to recover and learn from this match, and I think that's kind of what we've always talked about with Chinese teams coming out. We saw the breakthrough for EDG in VCT, and maybe a chance now for this squad as well.
Yeah, and you know what we also learned? It's possible to win a round on attack. We got exactly one of them. We're going to be sending it down to Yinsu on the stage for the Verizon post-match interview.
What a dominant performance that was from Falcons. I'm now joined by Mad V. First of all, Mad V, welcome to Berlin. Welcome to the global stage. I know you've worked so hard for this for so long. Does it feel real yet that you're playing at Champs?
Not really. I thought it would be like... I still feel like it's a dream, especially like playing and winning on the stage doesn't feel real.
Hasn't set in yet. I feel like a few more games. Now, we've always really admired and appreciated your flexibility when it comes to your agent pool. But today, I'll start with the ISO. We've seen you play ISO before, but on LAN, you know, something just feels so right. The ultimate, the 1v1s, were you just feeling it?
I guess ISO just gives you confidence, like the agent itself. So on LAN, it gives you more confidence, you know, with the excitement. I think that's it.
The momentum, right? Once you get one, you know you're going to get a few more. Now, moving on to Split. We've never seen this Split comp before from anyone in the world. You guys are the first team to run it. What was the thinking behind this comp?
I mean, Deadlock and Cypher are strong together, especially on Split. Split wasn't on the comp for a long time. Maybe we'll see it in the future, our comp. I think the difference is Euro, but like Euro's OP now.
How long have you had to cook this? Because you haven't really had that much time.
Maybe 2 weeks or less, I'm not sure, like with the other maps.
And you like the Deadlock?
Yeah, I mean, today's game was good. It's my first game on Deadlock.
Yeah?
I like it, of course.
Maybe we see you on more maps? Is this something that you kind of want to add to your agent pool as well?
Yeah, I don't mind Deadlock on different maps. Yeah, it's fine.
I want to see it. Now, from our perspective, obviously coming into this with Lexa coming in for you guys, it really feels like today she's the super sub. But in many ways, it doesn't even feel like a substitute. She just fits in so well. It's so natural. She was shooting out there as well. What's it like for you guys, for you in particular?
I've known Lexa for a while because she was in Twisted Minds and we met multiple times in Riyadh. But like, you know, Lexa has enough experience and she's on a lurker role, so she doesn't need to be very close to the team to fit in. But she's doing great.
It's natural, right?
Yeah, it's natural.
It's quite natural. Now, I spoke to some of the fans that are here, and a lot of them are here to see you in particular. You know, they feel really inspired by the fact that you're here. We've heard it from Mary as well about how you guys want to make, you know, that MENA legacy. You want to build a legacy here, and I think that really involves yourself as well. Is there anything you want to say to our fans that came all the way here just to see you?
Yes, I thank everyone supporting us, supporting me here on online. I see all the messages, and especially thank you to my mom. She came all the way to support me.
Oh, that's so cute. And last question before I let you go. You've had your first game here already. It went really well, but you do have to face Shopify next, which I think is a really big task. So how are you feeling about this challenge?
Of course, it will be a good match, but if we play the way we played today, the same confidence, same playing together as a team, I think we can do anything.
I think you can as well. Thank you very much again for joining me, Mad V, and good luck tomorrow. That is it for our game here, but we do have another match coming up, so make sure you stay tuned for Zipto versus FlyQuest.
So, you want to work in esports?
Great. Step 1, never spell it like that. Better.
Step 2, apply to the Mastercard Gamer Academy, a program created in partnership with G2 designed to give you all the tools and resources needed to help you start a career in esports.
This is an education in everything, from creating content to managing a team.
All from experts who will explain every aspect of running a top-tier org, prepping for a broadcast, or designing global esports events for millions of fans.
Selected participants will have access to live lectures and insights you won't find anywhere else.
And even the opportunity to travel to the League of Legends Mid-Season Invitational and Valorant Champions.
So they're flying them out to champs?
Yep.
Thank you, Mastercard.
So if you've ever dreamed of a life working in esports, this could be your opportunity to apply for an unforgettable experience.
Can anyone apply?
No, you can't apply.
And if you're wondering why I move the way I do, I just feel so good.